back again. So, by the way, again, I am Sayura P. Hasim from BS Ed 2 major in English. So, for today, I'm going to choose one of the teaching method of grammar used in teaching. So, I chose interactive method. So, let's find out what is interactive method teaching grammar. So I chose interactive teaching because this is another type of method of teaching grammar. It is to incorporate interactivity in the lessons using games to teach grammar not only engages students but also helps them to remember what they've learned. These methods allows teacher to tailor their lessons to the different learning styles of students. For instance, each student can be given a large flashcard with a word on it, and the students must physically arrange themselves into a proper sentence. Other games can include word puzzles or fun online quizzes. Over the years, many methods have been developed for teaching grammar and have been built upon abandoned or combined, all with the same goal in mind: teaching students how to communicate effectively and understand how to use the English language because of the grammatical complexity of English. Each method has its pros and cons, so some lessons are less likely to be remembered, while others may require more in-depth explanation and practice. Regardless of how grammar is taught, a well-rounded understanding of English grammar is the most important factor in improving the literacy of students. So as a future teacher, we all know that grammar instruction is vital, but the methodology is continuing to shift to a more student-centered approach that actively involves the learners. Thus, the learning material presented should be meaningful and relevant to the learner's ability or daily lives. So according to Kara Moradsky and Frederick Kim, grammar should be introduced by doing rather than through mere rule memorization. So students can learn through traditional methods, but there are better, more efficient ways than doing it just by the book. Involving the students in activities gives them a chance to use grammar in a context that is relevant to real life situation. So as a student, we all experience that we have encountered different type of teaching methods. Like for example, we have experienced breaking down different kind of words before the lesson starts, so you have to unlock different kinds of words for you to know what is the meaning of that word. So through unlocking, you have to go through a games, which is you have to go faster in assembling the words and placing it to the right meaning of it. So that's one of the games that we have encountered so far. There are also other games that we have also encountered, like for example passing ball, which is the ball is passed through all the students, and if the ball stops to that student, so you have to answer it according to the question given. So based on that questions, you will have the reflection or self-reflections of what you have learned based on the given question. So there is a possibility that student will remember the lessons that you have taught through that game. So now let's move to how do we teach interactive teaching grammar. How do we apply it? So taking an interactive approach to teaching English grammar doesn't mean throwing out your syllabus or abstaining from classroom lecturing. So rather, interactive, student-centered teaching means refraining the use of these teaching methods and integrating them as part of a broader interactive and engaging lesson plan. An interactive grammar lesson for English learners can be structured into three parts. So there are three parts. If there is a lot of grammar to be learned, break up the materials into sections and repeat the three steps outlined here for each. So first is the present. At the beginning of the class, you have to start by explaining the grammar clearly to the students so that they will not be confused, or use a whiteboard or blackboard to write down the key points, which will serve as a useful aid during the following sections of the class. So even the presentation stage, you'll benefit from integrating more interactive methods. So once you've gone over the grammar for the day, you have to check that the students understand the basics. If possible, get every student to give you a correct example of the use of each element to make sure everyone has understood. If it appears that some of the student doesn't understand, make sure to repeat this part again before moving on. Because as a teacher or as a future teacher, have to do your best or utmost best to help your students understand that kind of part that you are teaching, so that you will able to move on to another topic. So second is practice. So once you're confident that your students have a good understanding of the basic use structure, interactive practice to deepen their comprehension rather than a classic teaching session. So in which this portion of the lessons might be devoted to exercises in textbooks, keep it interactive. So the practice that you have to give is that it is engaging and challenging to the students. They will be able to learn or benefit from it by just remembering, recognizing the basic of structured grammar, especially when you are discussing something. So it has to be understandable and engaging, so that the practice that you have given to the students will not go to waste. So last is the third, which is apply. So after your short practice sessions, use more interactive methods to deepen students' understanding and comfort with the grammar taught. So for teens or for those young students, this part is especially essential. So it is important. So there are attention span is short, and using interactive methods can really help to focus them. So here are 6 of our favorite activity methods tips to make your lesson a success. So first activity tip is watching a movie scene and fill in the blanks. So in watching a movie, you have to choose a scene from an age-appropriate movie that fits your student's level. So unless your class is very advanced, that means avoiding movies with strong English accents, either Scottish, Irish, and even some British accents will make this exercise almost impossible. Write out the scenes, removing words relevant to your grammar lesson. So you have to remove adjectives if your lessons is about adjectives and etc. So have students fill in the blanks while watching the scene, so they can also take notes, and then divide rules and have them read out the scene. So this will stimulate them to listen attentively, which is essentially to learning any languages. So second tip is you have to teach in the language you're teaching, even grammar. So it's not easy, but the effort will pay off. Teaching English grammar in English means students can't just passively absorb what you're saying, but you have to actively pay attention to understand your meaning. By using English in the classroom constantly, you move from treating English as an object to be learned to using English as a tool to communicate. So in teaching, you have to really use English, yes, specifically. For example, in doing activities, you don't have to use any type of languages aside from English. so that students will learn to adapt or learn to love the passion of speaking in English while doing their activities in the classroom. So the third tip in teaching interactive methods or applying it to yourself. So bring real life into the classroom. So students learn better when the work they do engage concrete aspects of their lives. So figure out why your students are learning English and develop exercises accordingly. Just like the IELTS teachers, as well as private teachers and immersion hosts may have students who are thinking of studying of doing an internship abroad. So seeing their language skills applied to a task they will need to do in real life will your students to see the value of learning grammar properly and make them more engaged. Yes, it is important for us to learn grammar because in the future we will able to apply what we have learned based on the process that we have passed through during that process. So next tip is the switch roles. So in interactive teaching is all about subverting traditional classroom rules and behavior. So have your students teach the class a lesson in groups of 2 or 3. For example, ask students to present a grammar lessons with plenty of examples and develop an exercise for the rest of the students to complete as a group. So doing this exercise is incredibly so what we call incredibly, so working through a grammar lessons independently, figuring out how to explain it to others, and coming up with exercises requires your students to apply their knowledge, ensuring they really engage with the subject matter and remember it much better. If students are uncertain about how to do this, you can sit it on their preparation sessions to make sure they're on the right track. So to put everything to a nutshell, grammar teaching is the one thing that English teachers universally dread. Even if you master the techniques, making it through a class with all students still awake is not easy. So applying interactive teaching or any kind of teaching grammar methods will engage students and give them a more active role in the classroom. So from simple elements like feedback slips to having students teach a part of the lessons, the activity and method tips outlined above are sure to make your grammar lessons a success. So I hope that you have learned during my demo lecture in this kind of teaching grammar method, which is called the interactive teaching grammar method. So I hope that you have learned something regarding this kind of methods that we have used or we must apply during our teaching demonstration. So that's all. Bye! And I hope to see you in my next vlog again.